All right, the first page, 1 through 14, you should be defining those, and you should be drawing me a picture. Vertical angles, they look like this, or you could have labeled A and B on the two sides, because those are also vertical. They're opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. Those angles have congruent measures, so that means that they're the same. So if A is 50, B is 50. Adjacent angles are two angles are two angles with a common vertex and a common side. So remember, they're side by side. They're right beside each other. Supplementary angles have a sum of 180. So these two angles put together form a straight line, which measures 180 degrees. And then complementary form a 90-degree angle. So two angles whose sum is 90. That little square right there should be in your picture so you know that it's a 90-degree angle. An acute angle is any angle less than 90 degrees. A right angle is exactly 90 degrees. And then a straight angle measures exactly 180 degrees. These will be on Google Classroom tonight, so if you are not able to copy them all down, you're going to have to get them from Google Classroom or your book, since over half of us did not do any of this. Number 8, an obtuse angle, any angle greater than 90 degrees or less than what? No. Less than 180, right? It can't be a straight line, so it has to be between 90 and 180. So greater than 90, but it can't be greater than 180. It has to be less than 180. A scalene triangle is a triangle with three sides that are not congruent. So like a triangle with 3, 4, and 5 as your side lengths. So none of them are the same. An isosceles triangle has 2 of the sides that are the same. So that's why you put those little marks on there. And then an equilateral, equal, all 3 sides are equal. All 3 sides are the same. So they all have one little tick mark on them. And then an obtuse triangle is any triangle with one angle greater than 90 degrees. An acute triangle means all 3 angles are less than 90 degrees. And then your right triangle, you have one angle that is 90 degrees. So you have the little square at the bottom. Questions on any of those? Okay. Number 15, it says an artist is using right triangles in her design. If each triangle has one angle that's 32 degrees, what's the measure of the third angle? So we know that it's a right triangle, so we know that one measure of the angle is 90 degrees. And then it tells us that the other angle is 32 degrees. You're trying to find the third one. So you're going to set up an equation. 90 plus 32 plus x is 180. Remember, the sum of all the angles of a triangle is 180. So then you just add your 90 and your 30, so 122 plus x equals 180. And then subtract 122 from both sides. So x is 58 degrees. Questions on that? So because it's a right triangle, that's why you know that one of the measures is 90. Then they give you the other. All right, number 16, find the value of y. So again, you know that all 3 angles add up to 180. So you've got 90 plus 42 plus x equals 180. So combine your like terms and then subtract 132 from both sides, and x is 48 degrees. Is that degree symbol important? Yeah, it is. Make sure you have the degree symbol. Number 17, they still should add up to 180. So 3x plus 6x plus x equals 180. They all have an x term, so they're like terms. You can add them together. So 3 plus 6 plus 1 is 10x. So 10x equals 180. Divide by 10. X is 18. Yes.
Do we not need a degree sign up?
You don't, because you're just solving for x. If it was asking for the measure, you could, but all three terms have an x in them. So x is not a degree measure. It's just a symbol, because you would have to do 6 times x to find this.
For this one, I did 3 times 6, and that gave me 18. And then I did 18 plus x equals 180. Because I thought that's what you did.
Shouldn't be multiplying anything. The sum is 180, meaning add. Sum of all of the angles is 180. So you should never be multiplying. Baron.
For 17, I got 171.
Well, where does your work look different than mine? I don't know what you did. Did you add them all up and set them equal to 180? You did 10x equals 180?
I put 9 instead of 10.
So that x right there is a 1x. So you have to add it too. All right, number 18, it says, is it possible for a triangle to have a 25-degree angle, a 30-degree angle, and a 115-degree angle? Explain. So in order for it to be a triangle, they all have to add up to 180. So in this case, if you add the 3, they give you 170, which is not 180. So it cannot make a triangle. This is not what you learned yesterday with side lengths. This is degrees. This is angle measures. So that's why it has to be equal to 180. Okay. Questions on that? So it has to equal 180 in order to be a triangle, which it does not. 19 and 20 is what you learned yesterday. So remember, you have to add the 2 smaller side lengths of a triangle, and the sum has to be greater than the longest side. So in this case, my 2 smaller sides are 14 and 24. So when I add those 2 together, I get 38. Which is larger than 36, so it can be a triangle. If it was less than the largest side, could it be a triangle? No, it has to be greater than. Can it be equal to? Like if 24 plus 14 was 36, could it be equal to 30? No, it can't. It has to be greater than the third side. Okay. Number 20. 2 plus 2, those are your 2 smaller sides, so that is 4. So 4 is definitely larger than the third side, so it is a triangle. Are we good on that? The sum of the 2 smaller sides has to be greater than the third side. All right, what's my formula for area of a triangle?
A equals 1.5 B plus H.
B times H, not B plus H. So A equals 1/2 B times H. So in this first triangle, they give you that the base is 12, the height is 9. So you're just plugging that into your formula. So A equals 1/2 B times H. Your 1/2 stays there always. Your B is 12, your H is 9. So then once you multiply all 3 together, your area is 54 square inches. Is it important that you tell me inches squared?
Yes.
Yes, because area is always in square units. So don't forget that. Number 22, the dotted line is telling you your height. So the triangle is actually this place, right? This part right here, the dark line. The dotted line is just helping you to figure out the height. So you've got 1/2 times 20 times 30, which is 300 square yards. And then in number 23, are you finding the area? In the next one, number 23. What are you actually finding?
The base.
The base. So don't make that mistake of just plugging everything in and trying to find for A. It tells you that the area is 150 square meters. The height is 20 meters. What is the base? So you're just plugging that 150 in for A, 20 in for H, so you still have a B there. So 1/2 times B times 20. You can do 1/2 times 20, which is 10. So you get 10B equals 150, and then divide by 10. So 15 meters is your base. So you have to read the problem and figure out what is it actually asking for. Don't just assume that you're always finding the area. And because this is an area, that's why it's not squared. It's the base, so it's just meters. Questions? Good on that page? This back page is not too bad. Okay, actually, you're telling me what type of triangle this is. So what is this? An acute isosceles. It's an isosceles because two of the sides are the same, and then it's acute because all the angles are acute. Okay. What about this triangle? Remember what I just said when we were looking at it. The dotted lines is not the triangle. That's helping you find your height. So this is your actual triangle.
Scaling acute.
Scaling acute, or not acute. Obtuse. You've got that one angle right there that's larger than 90 degrees. So that would be an obtuse scaling. Okay, number 26, it says to classify the pair of angles and find x. So the type of angles that we have are supplementary because they form a straight line. So that means that the sum of them is 180. So 110 plus 2x equals 180. And then you subtract 110 and divide by 2, so x is 35. What type of angles is in number 27? Complementary. They're equal to 90 degrees. What would they also be? Both of those, 26 and 27. What was another way you could classify those angles? Starts with an A. Adjacent. Aren't they side by side? Yeah, so these are also adjacent angles. So because they're complementary, they add up to 90. So 3x plus 4x minus 20 equals 90. You can combine those like terms that have the x's. So 3x plus 4x is 7x. And then you just have a two-step equation. So x is 110 over 7. If you divide it and got a decimal, that's fine. So it's just, it doesn't come out to be a pretty number. 28, those are vertical angles. So what do you know about vertical angles? They're opposite from each other, but what do you know about the measures of them? They're the same. They're congruent. So if this is 102, this also has to be 102. So you can set them equal to each other. So 102 equals x minus 5. Add 5 to both sides, and 107 is x. You could also check it, and you could plug it in. 107 minus 5 gives you 102, so you know it's correct because it has to equal that. Questions? Okay, number 29, you're naming the angle in 4 different ways. You will have to do this on your test, so you need to know all 4 ways. Izzy?
UWX, XW, WU, W, and 6.
Yes, good. Are the angle measures important on that? Yes. You have to have angle W, angle UWX, angle XWU, angle 6. If you just give me the numbers or the letters, I don't know anything that you're talking about. You're just giving me numbers or letters. So you have to name it by the number, by the vertex, and then 2 different ways by all 3 points. Number 30, ask what type of angle this is. So what is this? Is it a triangle?
No.
So it's not an isosceles. It's just acute. Number 31, that is a straight angle. 32 is obtuse. 33, those are adjacent because they're side by side. They are not complementary or supplementary because they don't add up to 180 or to 90. They are just side by side, just adjacent. The number 34, that is an acute equilateral triangle. 35 is obtuse isosceles. And 36 is a right scalene. Any questions? We good? Alright. If you did the back, why is a leaky faucet like a racehorse? It's off and running. The bottom should say it's off and running. Why is a leaky faucet like a horse? If it's leaky, then it means it's off, but it's still leaking water. Just don't even try. Alright, any questions on this? So again, if you are one of those 25 people who did not do your study guide, I would suggest that you do this tonight and then you check your answers. Or if you got some of the answers copied down, that you do them on a separate sheet of paper and then check your answer. Because just copying them down does not help you at all. You need to physically work it yourself and then check to see if you did it correctly. Because your test is 2 months.